Are you in real estate working with your spouse?
Or are you a realtor looking for a spouse?
We're excited to talk about all of that today and more, along with several questions that people have asked us over the years about how do you work with your wife or how do you work with your husband. I'm John Foster, and we help team leaders and real estate agents grow and scale to be number one in their marketplaces. So I'm excited just to jump in today and welcome my first guest to our YouTube channel, who happens to be my beautiful wife, Leslie.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Foster. I appreciate it. I did make a comment that we did need coffee. So for the next time, we should do like a happy hour or maybe like a coffee, a caramel macchiato waiting for me, like for your guests, like just in the future.
That's what we do with our clients, right? But next time we're gonna have hot coffee for Leslie.
Yes.
She deserves it.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Well, I'm excited to be here. A lot of clients and, colleagues have asked us, like, how have you and John been able to work together for 17 years and still be happily married? And we always joke, like, there's no time to fight because we're just too busy, right?
And it's true. So we're just going to dive right in, you guys. There's a bunch of questions we've been asked over the years. We wrote them down, and are we going to interview each other? I think that's kind of what we're going to do.
Yeah.
Leslie, what advice do you have for couples who are considering entering the real estate industry together?
Don't do it. Just kidding. You know what? So I had I was in the loan side prior to John and I getting married. I was a processor. And so when we got married, I moved up to the Bay Area and I was like, okay, I guess we'll just be a husband and wife team. And I told John, you have 5 years to figure this out. And then we're moving back to Orange County. So actually our 17th wedding anniversary is next month and we're still in the Bay Area. And I love it here, but it was, I don't know because I didn't know what to expect. I knew that I was a W-2 employee, and then I married this gentleman right here. And my first tax return went to his taxes. And I was like, what the heck? Like, it was scary. And then 2007 hit, and REO, all the things, the economy crashed.
Short sales.
All the fun and stuff. It was crazy. So if you're going to start in the real estate industry with your husband or your spouse or your wife or whoever it may be, definitely have clear, defined rules. And you definitely need a third party to be the mediator. That was the best thing we ever did, truly. Our operations director, Jill,
Poor Jill.
I know, poor Jill. She's our work wife. And in the beginning, there would be a lot of arguing between John and I, like, you said you were going to do this and you didn't get it done, and why didn't it happen, or vice versa. So when we hired someone to help us kind of take some of the pressure off of the things that we couldn't get done in a day, just because there's only so much time in a day that you can get stuff done, and we were just running out of hours.
I mean, Leslie's so right. That was massive. That was literally there's been several breakthrough moments. That was absolutely one of them, because she took a strong role in our company to basically say, Leslie, you need to do this. John, you need to do this. And she held us accountable. And so then we went off and did it and kind of reported back to her, and the going back and forth amongst each other and sort of bantering there, arguing, whatever it was
gone. So. It was probably a really good thing for our marriage too. Now that I look back on it, right? Just know when you go into this, you're going to have really high highs and really low lows, and just be okay with that, right? It's not going to be perfect, like anything. Nothing's perfect. And I will say for us, I wouldn't want to do anything else.
Yeah. Got to let stuff go and move on.
Yep.
We don't have time for this. How many times do I say that?
Oh, too many.
But seriously, it's like, you know what? We're going back and forth on something. It's like, we're just done. We don't have time for this. Are you good? I'm good. Are you good? I'm good.
Shake it out. We shake
right.
it. Right.
We're good.
Good. And
next.
Then I'm still a little mad. How often do you take your wife on dates?
So we have our goals written down, right? And they're taped in our closet. Should you have your goals visual and written down? Probably. One of them is date night. So the answer is it's not often enough. We've got 2 awesome kids. We've got an 8-year-old and an 11-year-old. And it's not often enough, but we do make an effort and we do go on date nights. Leslie, speaking of that, how much of our travel is business?
So we do quite a bit of traveling for business, but we also try to throw in a lot of long weekends. During the summer, we try to plan one big family vacation where our kids are on vacation for break, but it tends to be hard because summer is the best time to be selling your home. So that tends to be our busiest time of the year. So I think this year we're trying to plan like a fun, like summer, something not super long during the summer. I really want to do a dude ranch. I think it'd be so much fun to do a dude ranch and like ride horses and go fishing and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, just a little bit of a travel tip for you guys in real estate. So if you're a top producing real estate agent, you're never slow, right? There's no such thing as, oh, it's going to be a slow month, let's go on a trip. You're never slow. I mean, you're literally selling real estate 12 months out of the year. But a little bit of a travel tip for you guys that's kind of a double-edged sword. Travel on big holidays. So when I say double-edged sword, when I say travel on Thanksgiving or Christmas or New Year's, yes, you're traveling with lots of other people. So you kind of have to deal with that and just take it for what it is. But the benefit to that is you're getting less calls. I'm not going to say no calls, because the joke is every time we get off the airplane,
we have a listing agrignment signed. It never
John,
fails.
can you list my house? Leslie, can you list my house?
That's another travel tip.
So-
if you are slow, go on a trip. Right? I mean,
You might pick up more business because it's just Murphy's Law or whatever it is that you want to call it.
it is, yeah. How much do you talk about work, or how often do we talk about work? And do you think it's too much?
It's always too much, and it's just like, it is what it is. You're operating in our case a very large successful team. There's so many moving parts. There's a lot going on. We always talk about work, but if you're going to be married to your spouse, who, like, the reality is it's your spouse and it's your business partner, and it just turns out that Leslie and I are extremely passionate about what we do. So when we talk about work, that's not like a forced thing that's like hard to do that makes it a difficult conversation or frustrates us, like we're talking about work again. We both love what we do, so that's like maybe a pro tip on if you're looking for a spouse or you have a spouse in real estate. You should both be passionate about what it is that you're doing. So when you're talking about work, it's fine. Now, we definitely have lots of things that we love to do and talk about and things in common outside of real estate, but let's just be honest, like, real estate is our life and we love it. So talking a lot about work, I'll let you answer, but I'm good with that.
Yeah, we definitely do talk about work quite a bit, and we've actually enrolled our kids in it. So when we get home, they kind of know, like in the morning when I drop them off, like, what's on your calendar today, Mom? And I'm like, well, Mom has a listing appointment, and then I'm going to meet some clients, and funny stories happen throughout the day. So when we sit around the dinner table at night, it's always like, well, how did your listing appointment go? And if anything funny happens, I tell them. And, it's kind of enrolling our children, because our life is real estate. Our children are growing up in a very real estate. I mean, tomorrow when I do my open house, my 11-year-old's going to get in the car with me and go put up all my open house signs, and then I'll get him a hot chocolate at Starbucks. So like, I think it's good. Like John said, there's a lot of grace, I should say, because last night I was up until like midnight working on listings, and he put the kids to bed, got it all, the kitchen cleaned up while I finished, and there's no like bitterness, right? Because one person's working later than the other. It's nice. And the next question, Mr. Foster, what price have you paid personally with the amount of time you work?
Probably lots of different things over the years. I mean, really, it's time. Like, I guess the short answer is running a large team, producing at high levels, not only for ourselves, but, helping our team win at the highest levels that we can possibly help them to do that. It just takes a ton of time. So we've missed events, we've missed parties, we've missed certain things that maybe vacations we were invited on, things like that.
Yeah.
To me, that's not a big deal. Like, there's way more important things in life to that. I just think that the value that you provide in whatever business you're running is a direct proportion to your income. And so when I look at a question like that, it is a great question. Like, you could say, what's the price you paid? What are the sacrifices you've made? I don't look at it that way. It's kind of like when somebody says, John, should we do that? And I say, well, wouldn't a better question be, why wouldn't you do that? It's just a little bit of a shift in how you think. And I think the things that I think about, because one of the jokes is, how do you guys balance everything? The answer is, we don't.
Are not in balance at all.
There is no balance, but it's not a bad thing. Like, I look back at, again, we talked about our kids quite a bit. I'm really, really proud of the example we've set for our kids. The beautiful home that they live in on a great street that they can play with their friends in a nice neighborhood, things like that. The lifestyle we're giving our children. There's a lot of benefits from a lot of the sacrifices that we've made, the trips we've gotten to take, the experiences we've given our kids. are definitely awesome. And I think it does feel good to look back at where we came from. Like, we did struggle a lot way back when. We're going to film some future videos on that and like how to turn that around. Like, there's a definite way to turn that around. We're going to talk about that and really get like serious with you guys on really what it takes to turn around a business that's failing or a business that's struggling. Talk about paying a price and sacrificing. I mean, again, that's a future video, but did I miss anything?
We're going to definitely need to do that at happy hour.
We'll do that as a happy hour video.
Yeah, we've definitely sacrificed a lot and struggled to get where we are today. This didn't happen overnight. We didn't build a team of 60 plus agents and become number 2 in EXP, mid-size GCI overnight. I mean, it truly, like, we missed out on a lot of fun things, or we weren't able to do things because we were just grinding. And looking back at it, it all paid off. I'm glad we did it. Like,
Yeah.
I wouldn't change our story. So,
Do we work with clients together, separately? What does that look like? Depends.
there are times, I will say, there are times where we will cross over and help each other's clients. Being a husband and wife team, it's kind of like a BOGO. So we can kind of say, this is more of a person Leslie will connect with. Like, I tend to gravitate towards like the moms who have children and things like that. And sometimes I come across clients who are very engineer, very thought, like numbers, that kind of stuff. That's not me. That is my husband. For those of you who don't know, he was in the union as an HVAC guy. So he is very like number driven. He loves the data. And for me, I'm like, oh, this is so boring.
I want to talk about how it works and how it's built. I'll talk all day
Yes.
long about that. Use the fact that you work with your spouse as like leverage that.
Yeah.
Everything in your entire business model and your company should be looking at ways to leverage advantages and strengths that you have. So like when I say it depends, like Leslie did a good job explaining that. Like, it really does depend. One little hack, if this is helpful to you guys, is we do share an email address. So it's like j&l@johnandleslie.com. And a few people said, well, why do you guys do that? It's really two things. So it's that same conversation that Leslie just basically mentioned, is like, we might work it together. And it's also an efficiency thing. I mean, emails are not my favorite.
John's terrible at email. So if you emailed him and he didn't reply, I apologize.
They're not my favorite, but it's one of those things, if you're working together and you can help each other with emails. Email is, so we talk about like income producing activities. Email can be an income producing activity, but it also can be a huge time waste. So that's just a decision we made a while ago. We have separate email addresses, but the main business one we share.
Yeah.
And it's like, I can clear them out real quick and then she doesn't have to. So that helps you guys. You might want to give that a shot. Do we go on listing appointments together or separately?
I love when John and I go on a listing appointment together. When we first got started, we did every listing appointment together. And I mean, we were a 10 out of 10. I do have to say so myself, I feel like, because we are the yin and the yang. My strengths are John's weaknesses, and vice versa. Like, when we talk about data and we talk about the numbers and really diving in, like, John is so good at that. I am also very good at it, but John is just passionate about it. And when we talk about the marketing and how your home's going to look and just all the things that are going to happen, that is something I really thrive at. And I feel like we really have been able to win a lot of listing appointments just by just being excited and being passionate about it and how we can do it. As we've gotten further along in our career, just time. Unfortunately, we don't get to go on as many as we have in the past. So, it depends on our schedule. If we can go together, he will definitely come with me, or vice versa. There have been times where I've gone on a listing and I've gone through the first round of interviews where they've rounded, they've talked to 4 or 5 people, and then they want to talk to like the top 2, and I'll bring John in just to kind of help close the deal for me. So, and vice versa, right? Don't you think?
Yeah. What you emphasize when you're meeting with a seller that is important to you, that is of value to them, because let's be honest, you guys, that's all they're looking for. They want value. And the reality is, I think any 2 agents, let's use ourselves as an example, or anybody that are skilled agents, no matter how you slice it, they're going to get more work done than 1 agent. And we emphasize that. So you're hiring 2 very competent, very well-respected, very skilled agents versus maybe the other 3 agents that you interviewed that were just 1. So we don't harp on that per se, but we emphasize that to where like they get it, they get the point, and I think they realize there's a lot of value in hiring 2 agents.
Absolutely.
And we've won a ton of listings for that reason.
Yep.
How do we maintain a healthy work-life balance?
Balance. We always joke there is no balance. We don't have balance. Our balance is always like, but as we've gotten through our career and having kids, I know sometimes it's a struggle. I know the mom guilt sometimes, like you kids play baseball, they play soccer, or they're in dance or whatever. So as we've gotten through the weekends and all the stuff that we do with our kids, we've switched off. So I'll work a Saturday and John will be with the kids all day Saturday and be at the games, or vice versa. And then he'll work a Sunday and then I'll be home with the kids all day Sunday, prepping for school, getting the grocery shopping and that kind of stuff done. So finding something that works for you and your spouse that you can both be with them and have that quality time is really important. Other things when we travel, like we talk about date nights and things like that, we tend to go on one really good date night. We usually try to fly in the day before the event and go out to a really nice restaurant and a show. We always joke how every real estate conference is in Vegas. And let's be real, Vegas has fantastic restaurants. So we tend to try to get a little bit of alone time before the craziness starts of the convention. What about you, John? What do you think?
Some of the best restaurants we've eaten, well, let's just put it this way, like we've definitely eaten at some of the best restaurants that are out there when we've traveled for business. So it's a business trip, but you got to mix in that personal time. And it just comes down to the time's never going to like look for you. You've got to look for the time, if that makes sense. And you've got to just make a dinner reservation, book a show afterwards and just go. It's really, really important. And it really accomplishes that, you're out of town for business, of course. And it's important. You're going to build your business, network with other people, do whatever you're going to do. And at the same time, be able to have a good time with your spouse. If you're there with your team, obviously that's super important and valuable time to just spend with your team. Go to Top Golf, do something fun.
Go bowling.
Yeah, have a good time. That's all part of it. I don't want to do it if it's not fun.
No one wants to do it if it's not fun. What strategies do we use to keep each other motivated and focused on our business goals?
Lots of things. So all of our goals are written down. We talk about it all the time. The act of talking about it is absolutely accountability. I would just say this for anything you're doing, whether it's selling real estate, you're going to the gym, you're hiring a coach. The coach provides accountability. The personal trainer provides accountability. So dream boards are fun, but they typically lack substance. And to break that down a little bit, just saying like, I have a dream of buying this office building was a huge goal of ours, but there was a vision attached to it. We really saw the need for this as our team grew to provide an office space for them. And then looking around for office space, so I think we were focused on that. It was not just a dream or that would be nice. It was like, we were pretty obsessed about it. And we made it happen.
Yeah. Other strategies that we do to make sure that we stay focused and on point is we meet quarterly with our executive staff and we put something called rocks on it. So those rocks could be things like we want to give a community event. We want to hire a sales manager. We want to implement a new program through the company, right? And so what we do is we break everything down by quarters. And when you work on a project for 3 months, whether it just kind of goes, you tend to get those projects done a lot faster, right? And having those quarterly check-ins to make sure that we're staying focused on the task and not getting all squirrely, right? Like sometimes I love my husband, but he sees a light and he's like, squirrel, gone. And that's a good thing. You're a visionary, right?
Yeah, and ultimately, like the process isn't always fun. And how else do you just say it? It's just work. Just to kind of wrap up this video, it's been really fun. And just, to talk about the ability to work with your spouse, which some of you are already doing that. Some of you are considering doing that. If you're on the same page, you're both entrepreneurs, you both are high achievers, you both are top performing types of people and types of personalities, you can make it work. Just don't dwell on things that are not important. Don't let that kill your whole day, put you in a bad mood, give you a bad attitude for the rest of the week. There's no time for that. It's not worth it. There's work to do. Keep each other encouraged, keep each other accountable, right?
It's okay to be mad at your spouse though sometimes.
And what is accountability?
Get over it. The highest form of love. #Jill.
It is probably the number one thing in like business versus personal that tends to get mixed up as a married couple is the accountability is love. But oftentimes for, I know certain couples that can lead to arguments, don't let that happen.
Yeah. And I appreciate being your first guest.
Yep. Thank you guys for watching. We hope that you found this video valuable. Our next video is how to become #1 in your local marketplace and crush your competition. We look forward to seeing you there.